Yo, when you said it originally, we knew you're gonna go back and review it. So just you're consistent.
What am I supposed to do?
You're consistent. We know it. It was good.
But
It
I
was,
slept so much better because we almost finished like the Ahmed, so I felt like I wasn't
yeah,
behind.
no. It's for your peace of mind.
Lizzie,
Good.
you have to say that. You know, we just finished the whole damn davening. You gotta help yourself.
No, Menachem. If this is my affair for the year, sign me
You're
up.
good. Yeah,
Sign me
yeah,
up.
yeah. Right.
Good luck, good year. Okay.
Good
We're
luck.
about to start. We already decided that everyone knew when we learned the Mishnah last time that I was going to repeat it. So I feel like maybe the attention was not 100%. So, otherwise I was going to skip it. But now that you told me that, I have to review. Let's do it quickly. So we're on the Mishnah on Kufches Amid Aleph. Perak Yesh Neichlin. Yesh Neichlin Umanchilin. There are certain relationships between people that they both inherit and they bequeath. They cause others to inherit. Yesh Leichlin V'loy Manchilin. And there are those who inherit, but it's not reciprocated. They don't bequeath, they don't provide inheritance to the other. Manchilin V'noy Leichlin. And there's also the other way around. There are those who provided inheritance but do not inherit. There are those who don't inherit either way. It doesn't go both ways. There's no relationship as far as Yerusha. Obviously, the Mishnah is going to explain this is someone that you might have thought would be a Yairish or a Manchel. So who are the ones who both they provide they receive a Yerusha and they also provide a Yerusha? Ha'avas abanim. Abanim esav. A father, first of all, he inherits from his son. As we're going to see, he's not first in the order. He goes behind, as we're going to see, and this is going to be drummed into you over the course of this parak. The Seder Advarim is first a son, then a daughter, then a father, then brothers. I think I got that right. And then the father's brothers, and then uncles. The Mace's sisters. We'll see. But let's ha'avis abanim. So that's ha'avis abanim v'abanim esav. So a father will yarshin to his son, obviously, and he will also get from his son under certain circumstances if the son doesn't have any children, and vice versa. The same thing in reverse. Abanim esav. Ha'achem mina'av. In addition, brothers who are paternal brothers, that means they share the same father, they're both going to receive a Yerusha, and they're also going to provide a Yerusha one to the other. Ha'ish as imai, but now we're moving on to the second group. This is the group that these are the ones who inherit, but they don't reciprocate. They don't provide a Yerusha in return. Ha'ishas imai, a man to his mother, he gets a Yerusha from his mother. Ha'ishas ishta, and a man also, he gets a Yerusha, he inherits his wife. Ubnei achayes, and the sons of sisters, of a sister, not sisters. If a man, a mace, has a sister, and that sister has a son, he can that he can get a Yerusha from the mace, but he's not going to provide a Yerusha. His mother certainly cannot get a Yerusha from him. And similarly, his uncle can't get a Yerusha from him, but he can get a Yerusha from his uncle. Ha'isha es baneh, ha'isha es baila. Now we're getting to the next group. A woman to her sons and a woman to her husband, v'achia aim, and the brother of someone's mother, manchilin, all of these people, right? The isha as Es benel, she can give a Yerusha, so she's manchilin, but she doesn't get a Yerusha back from her son. The son doesn't give a Yerusha to his mother. But Isha is baila, a woman gives a Yerusha to her husband, he inherits her, but she doesn't inherit him. His sons inherit him. And additionally, we said before the other direction that a nephew who is the son of the Mace's sister can get a Yerusha, but it doesn't go the other way around. If that nephew were to die, the uncle would not Yarsh. So all these are manchilim v'leilechlim. And finally, the last din, the fourth din, is someone who's a maternal brother. They're only brothers through their mother. There's no Yerusha from one to the other. Sach the Gemara. Maishna diktani ha'av es habanim bereisha. The Gemara knows. So the first thing we said was yesh noichlin manchil. There are those who both get a Yerusha and they give a Yerusha. And the first thing we said is ha'av es habanim. Ha'av is noichel. He gets a Yerusha from his sons, and he also provides a Yerusha to his sons. So the Gemara says, so really the first thing you're saying is that a father gets a Yerusha from his son. That seems strange. First thing you should say, which we all know, is that a son yarshins his father. That's the normal way of the world. First of all, we don't start with the paranis. We don't start with a tragic story of a son who predeceased his father. In additionally, the pasuk that we're going to come back to many, many times in this parak, pasuk says, a man who dies, and he doesn't have a son. The mashmois from that is if he does have a son, then the son gets the Yerusha. In the case where there's no son, then you pass it over to his daughter. But the inference is that you do give to the son first. And that's the first description of what the laws of Yerusha are. So wouldn't we stop it? We start the din in the Mishnah from what the Torah starts with the son who yarshins his father. Saktimara Vatano. What's the Tana? Why did the Tana do this? I did the Asle Midrasha Chavivale. Since this comes from a drasha, that it comes from a pasuk that we learn that a father yarshins his son, therefore it's mochaviv, and therefore that's why the Mishnah started with him. Well, my drasha. What is the drasha? So we're going to see. First pshat is the Tanya. The first pshat, se'eroi zeha'av. So this is a long pasuk. The pasuk goes through, so it's a whole parsha. Ein achim la'aviv. I really should start from the beginning. Okay, but we're not going to read through the whole thing. But the beginning of this parsha is what we read on top. If a man dies and he doesn't have a son, so then it goes to his daughter. And then it says, the pasuk continues, and it says, if there's no daughter, then it goes to the brothers of the mace. The pasuk continues, and then if the mace doesn't have any brothers, then you give it to the brothers of the father. Now this pasuk is very strange, and the Gemara is going to point this out soon. We skipped straight from, we said after the bas, we said the achim, and then we said the achei aviv. What about the av himself? Why would we skip from the brothers of the mace to the father's brothers? Then the pasuk continues, and it says that the Gemara gives the Torah gives a strange lashon, a lashon that's not specific, and we don't know what it means. So our Gemara is suggesting, Se'eroi zeha av. When the Torah says at the end Se'eroi, that's the av that was skipped over earlier in the pasuk. Malamed, and what is it telling you? Sha'av koidem la'achim. That's coming to tell you that the av gets before the brothers. So the Gemara later on is going to say explicitly that once we see that the question that I had mentioned before, that it says the brothers of the father and it never mentions the father, that makes it clear, according to the Shita, that we're not going in order. The Torah is not saying all of the who goes first as far as Yerusha in order. So we learn out, so it says Se'eroi, that tells you that the father goes before the Acham. Yachol Yehei Koidim Leben. Maybe it should even be the father when it says Se'eroi. It should not just be before the brothers, but it should even be before the Ben. Maybe the father is the first Yairish. If a person dies, maybe his father Yarshins before his son. Ta'amalai Mahakarav. Karav Koidim. Since the Torah says Hakarav, that's telling you that the closest one goes first. Sagt Gemara. So then the Gemara says, so the Gemara asks, so why? And we're going to see later on what the svara is. We're going to see from the Gemara is going to bring a pasuk to tell you that a ben is more karav than an ach, but than a father. But generally, and it's also the Gemara. We say the son is going to be in the place of his father, of the mace. I'm sorry, not of his father. So that's Gemara. Why are we coming to tell you that when the Torah said Sa'ar, so we're saying Se'eroi, that's talking about the father, and we're saying now that it's coming to put us in front of something, and it's telling you that the ben goes before because the Torah says Karav Kaidim, but the ach comes after the father. Ma'abar Nisa ben. So why is it taka that you're putting the son before Lagabi Yerusha before the father? Shechem kam takas aviv liyada. Because first of all, he comes in the place of his father Lagabi the din yid. We know if a father sells his daughter as an amevriya, there's a din of yid that the person who purchased her can marry her. He could be makadesh her, and that din doesn't only apply to the father; it also applies to his son. So you see, there's a special closeness between a father and son. They're identified similarly. They both have the din yud on the amevriya. So the Torah says, therefore, we would assume when the Torah says that somebody goes before the father because of karv, we would say that's the ben more than the brother. Another reason, ulustei Lagabi the din that when someone comes is makadesh a field, and then he comes to be paided, like we said before, we had this recently that there's a special din by Yesada ste'achuza that it could be padi for 50 shekel, proportionally to the amount of time for a base core. But there's a din that if it wasn't padi, if it was bought by someone else other than the person who sold it, who's makadesh it, then it doesn't go back to the yovel. So we say that din doesn't just apply to the person who sold it, that he could be paid it before yovel, but also his son has the din. He's almost like identified as the same as the father, and he could also be paid. So you see that a son is more like a father. There's no such din that an ach could do that. It's only a son. So you see a second reason that a son should be before a ach legabi Yerusha. Correct the Gemara. Maybe I should say an ach, because an ach has a special din that he could, if his brother dies without children, he can marry his wife, and there's no such din for a son. Not only is there no such din, if there is a son, there's no din yibam at all. So that's Gemara says, "Klum yesh yibam el b'makom she'ein ben, b'makom yesh ben ein yibam." The Gemara says that taina that you're saying that you should go with the brother, that's not a reason, because the only reason why you have yibam in the first place is because there's no son. So you see that the whole din of yibam is dependent on that a person doesn't have a son. So you see the relationship of a son. You can't say that that's a reason why a relationship between a brother to brother is stronger, because that relationship only exists in a condition where there's no son. so we said two reasons why the father-son relationship is stronger, and therefore the son should get the Yerusha before his father, as opposed to an ach that he can be after the father, because we have two reasons. We have stei achuza and we have yid, and we brought one reason that the ach should be first, but we slugged up that reason. Track the Gemara. Time at ikahai pircha. Why are we bothering making a pircha? It sounds like only because we have a kasha on this raya from Yibam. Halav hachiyav amina ach adif. Not for that I would have said the brother. We would have said that since he's royally Yibam, therefore he goes first Yerusha. Let's say that we have two against one. So even without the pircha on the relationship of achim, I should say that a son should get Yerusha before a brother, because you have two ways in which a son is a closer relationship, both legabi yud and legabi stei achuza. So the Gemara, no, that would not be a taina. Stei achuza gufa may I taima hu de kakaimale latana. This is the whole reason why by a stei achuza the son can be paid to the sada, is only because we learn it out. Plum yeshivim ela b'makom she'en ben hayesh ben and yibam. The whole reason why we asked the Torah when there's a Gemara, this brings where it is. The Gemara says, what's the din by stei achuza? Can a son, who is the Torah mentions that there's somebody besides the father who can be paida, and the Gemara then goes through analysis and says who should be paida, and it says, well, maybe it's the son or maybe it's a brother. The Gemara says, well, a son is royally yid, but then the Gemara says, but a brother is royally yibam. So the Gemara says, no, how could you use that as a raya? It says the same pircha like we asked over here, that yibam is only b'makam that there's no son. So the whole din of stei achuza by his son also is dependent on this kasha, on slugging up this raya from Yibam. So you can't say stei achuza is a second raya, that the ben is the one who's yarshins first, because it's only has the second raya if you don't have this kasha from Yibam. If you do have, this kasha, which learned out from Yibam. Otherwise, we'd say maybe that Einachanam by stei achuza should also go to the brother. So the Gemara, the ema se'era is ha'av, malama ha'av kaidem labas. We started the Mishnah and we said the order is first is the son, is yarshins, then a daughter yarshins, and then a father yarshins. Gemara asks, maybe the father should come before the daughter. Einachanami, we said he should go after the son, but maybe he should go before the daughter. In fact, it goes leben. I might say, so this is like just the form of the question. We know that it can't be the father can't go to the ben. The Gemara says no. You can't split up the Beinu Bas and say that the father should yarshim before the Bas, because we know the Gabi Yibam, if someone has a child, whether it's a boy or a girl, it makes no difference. It's not going to go to the Ach. So too, we're going to know that the Av, the din that the Av comes after the Ben, also means after the Bas, because Ben and Bas are interchangeable, because since we see Gabi Yibam, that they're interchangeable, that either one of them will preclude the brother from being neifel, the wife of the dead brother from being neifel yib.
Well, the Gemara's question was that the father should go before the daughter. Is that
right?
What it is?
Right, that was the Gemara's question, right?
And the answer is because Yibam can be either a son or a daughter, so therefore the daughter goes before the father.
Exactly. The Gemara, it's just a little awkward because Gemara puts it for some reason into the same format that it was in when the Gemara had made the original drasha to tell you Lebain. It says Hakarav in middle, but that's really the sense of the question and answer.
Funny because the Gemara never goes through like the list. Like you would think the Gemara would have a list of like, all right, these are the people who are like the order of success.
Right, it doesn't lay it out for us properly. Yeah. The Gemara asks the question. Next question. Maybe when the Torah says Se'eroi, right? That's the last pasuk, and it says this. What does the pasuk say exactly? It says if there's no brothers to the if the father has no brothers, then you give it l'se'eroi. So maybe it's coming to tell you that the father goes before his brothers. Yachal yakdim la'achin. Maybe I might say it should go before the brothers. Tamalei ma'karv kaidim. So tomorrow, how could that be? How could it be coming to tell you that the father goes before his own brothers? We don't need a pasuk to tell you that the father goes before his own brothers. His brothers, the father's brothers, they come from his own kayach because he's a Yairish, so they're also an extended Yairish. Av koy mikayach manka asu mikayach av koy av kayarsi achi. Could one even think that if the father was alive, that his brother should yarshim before him? So therefore, the pasuk cannot be telling you. The Gemara is saying that that when it says "Ve'ein achim la'aviv v'nesatem es nachlosoi l'se'eroi," so the Gemara is asking, what did the Gemara is suggesting? Maybe it's coming to tell you this. Maybe it's coming to tell you the pashta thing. That the last thing we mentioned is the brothers, and it's saying if there's no brothers, then it goes to these. If there's no father, then it goes to these brothers. If there's no Sarah, then it goes to these brothers. So what I'm saying, you don't need to tell you that. That's obvious. So tomorrow, high crawl of hachiksivi.
So the father does go before the brothers.
Of course he does.
No, not his brothers, meaning the Mace's brothers. That's what we're saying.
Mace's brothers. No, we're not talking about the Mace's brothers. We're not saying the Mace's brothers. We're saying that he should go before. He should go before his own brothers, right? That's coming to tell you that he goes before his own brothers, the brothers of the father.
My question is, where does the father lie in
then the Gemara says, Yachol, then the Gemara asks, Yachol Yaktim. This is part where the Gemara keeps doing it in that same format.
Right.
Of Hakarav. Yachol Yaktim La'achim. Maybe should even go before the brothers. Tamalem Hakarav, that therefore that it's not so. But we're saying Se'eroi, I would say Se'eroi is maybe just telling you not his own brothers. And then when it says Karav, that's telling you, but he doesn't go before the brothers of the mace.
But the Gemara seems to be saying that we don't need that. So it's really coming to tell you that the father is before the brothers, not the fathers, not the uncles, but the brother of the mates. In other words, it's son, daughter, father, brothers, then uncles, paternal uncles.
I'm saying in this limud, in this suggested limud that we're saying now, we're saying that maybe Hakarav would tell you that the father that the father goes after the brothers.
And but and the Gemara
The Gemara
answers that
says
you
it's
don't.
not, but it's not the case.
And
We're smug this
therefore,
up.
it's the father is before the uncle, before the brothers.
Right, but the point really is that when the pasuk is directly telling you, because since we don't have the pasuk of Karev to tell you that the father goes before the brothers. Yeah. The truth is, I'm not sure exactly why we keep going back to the Karev. But let's leave that aside because we're gonna slug this up, and we're not gonna stick with this. So tomorrow, Achiav le'tzichika, Achiav mikoyach man ka'asa mikoyach Av koyarsi Achiav Av koyarsi Achiav. Fact, more of a kroylav hachi ksivi. Now, so you're trying to tell me that when it says Se'eroi, that refers to the father, but it's not telling you that the father goes before his own brothers, but it's going all the way up front, right after the Ben and the Bas. The Siv, the main Acham La'aviv. It says that in the way it says the main Acham La'aviv, if there are no brothers to his father, that sounds like we're saying that where there are no brothers, then it goes to the father. No, all the psukim are not kaseder. Clearly, like we just said, because of this kasha, we must understand that when it says se'erai, it doesn't mean to say specifically an order. So that's the first Tana. So we go back to our original pshat that se'erai is coming to tell you all the way at the beginning. So we say that the father goes before the ach and after the ben and bas. Zok to Gemara. A different Tana brings it from a different source. The Tanya, Ezu Darish Rabbi Yishmael Rabbi Yosi, Ish Kiyamas Ubein Einloi. When a person dies, the same pasuk that we've been dashing till now. If a man dies and he has no child, it says, "V'havartem," he should pass over to Labitay. When there's a daughter, then you pass over, then you take away the daughter from the Av. But you don't take away the Nachla from the Av, from the Achim. We place the father. The Torah says that there's a Havara from the Bas. The Ben, first is the Ben, then the Bas. That's the order that the Torah says. And then it says V'havartem. So that's referring to the father, and the father gets passed immediately after the Bas, but not after the brothers. So maybe you should say the other way around. If the daughter is still alive, you should give it not to the brothers. And you don't take away from the father, even when there is a bas. So maybe the father should go before the bas. How do you know that this havara is coming to tell you that the father gets placed after the bas? Maybe it just means to say that if the father, that it would pass to l'se'eroi, to his karev, that would mean to the brothers. But if the father is around, it would go to the father before. So tomorrow in Kenli nichtav rachman of avarta. The Gemara says if that was the case, you could have just looked at the pasuk itself. The pasuk gives that order. It says first the son, then the daughter, and then it says the brothers. So if you want to say it's going in that order, and that the father goes before, so what would you lose a lashon v'havartem? So that Gemara, so the strange lashon of an avartem instead of a nosam tells you, must be coming to tell you that the father gets passed over after the daughter. According to the Mandam from Havartem, meaning this Rabbi Yossi that we just saw, high se'era mayavid. What's to do with se'era? It comes to tell you that a man he inherits his wife. What does he do with the Havartem? Like we said, the Torah goes through the whole order, and everyone it says v'nasan, you give it to the next one. But by the daughter, it says v'avartem. It's coming to tell you that there's no one who passes out the Yerusha out of the Shevet. But it's the only one who does that is a daughter. So since her son and her husband can yarshin her, so therefore she has the potential of causing Yerusha to pass out of the mishpach. So how do we know Se'era refers to the Av? Going back to this is all gebait on the assumption that when it says at the end Se'era, never mentioned the father. How do we know that refers to the father? The Se'era says Se'era avichahu legabi arayis. Ema Se'era zayin d'chsev Se'eri machahi says Sheri mecha. Amarava amakam mishpachtoi. V'yorsay mishpachas av kriya mishpacha mishpachas aim eina kriya mishpacha. D'chsev only mishpacha is miyuchas to the father and not the mother. D'chsev l'mishpachaisam leveis avoisam. It says legabi the Yerushas of Eretz Yisrael. I think when they're counting the people, I think for the Yerushas, it says l'mishpachaisam leveis avoisam. Okay, we're going to leave the next part. This is leave it for tomorrow. As Shem 8:30. I guess my voice is gone. It was very tenuous. Okay,
Sounded great.
Good
Sounded great.
Thank you. Good
Thank
work.
you,
Up to the last 3 minutes. Doesn't
Yeah.
sound good to me.
Yeah, it sounded great. It sounded great on my end. 8:30 tomorrow?
Yeah.
All right, guys. Yeah.